My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my 10 favorite Disney movies. I don't know why I'm doing this list, I just felt like talking about some Disney movies, so I figured, why not just make a list? So that's what I'm going to do. So, in 10th place, I've actually got 4 different movies listed, and I don't even know which one I'm going to pick until... Now, I'll go Lilo and Stitch. I love Lilo and Stitch. Now, I have a lot of nostalgia for this movie and the series that came afterwards, but it's still a very great movie. You know, you got this great storyline between these two sisters that's really unlike anything else in any Disney movie, and I found that to be emotionally powerful. But then you've also got this story of this girl and her space alien from outer space that I do found to be very emotionally powerful. You do care for these two and their friendship. And that keeps the show grounded even when it goes into more sci-fi action territory. You got a great bunch of supporting characters, you've got a great Elvis Presley soundtrack, the animation looks great, and it's just one of those Disney movies that I've always loved, and it never gets talked among the best, and I always feel like it should. So that comes in 10th place. In 9th place, we've got WreckIt Ralph. Now, this is a movie that could have felt like fan service, a bunch of Easter eggs for the people who love video games, but it never does. We get that in the sequel, but not in this first movie. This first movie is still really great. I just love the character arc of Ralph. He's a villain in this video game, but he wants to prove that he's not a bad guy. And that's just something you can sympathize with, and what he ends up going throughout this entire movie, I found to be really great stuff. You also got this great supporting character, and is it Penelope or Vanellope? I think it's V. I think it's Vanellope. Vanellope is a great supporting character, and these two and the friendship they form, I really started to care for these two. And even when they go into that third act conflict between the two of them, they do it so well that you understand where each character is coming from, and I just thought that was a great addition. I love watching Ralph jump throughout all these different video games, whether he's in Tappers getting a drink, or he's in Hero's Duty fighting off alien space bugs, or if he's in, I forget what the game's called, but Candy Rush? Is that what it's called? The Candyland meets Mario Go-Kart World. I just loved it all. You got a great villain in King Candy. You can just tell that Alan Tudyk is having the time of his life. And it's a really funny movie as well, but not just that. It's got some powerful emotional moments. Especially the very end. Like when Ralph is talking and he's just like, the best part of my day is when the nice landers lift me up and I get a perfect view of Sugar Rush. And I can see Vanellope and she's doing great, and I think to myself, if that little kid likes me, how bad can I be? It's just one of those endings that hit you right here. Love it. Speaking of endings that hit you right here, in 8th place, this is going to be a hot take, but it's a hot take I stand by, and that's Meet the Robinsons. This is a super underrated Disney movie. It came out in the 2000s, and most people don't talk about those Disney movies, and most for good reason, but this is one that people should talk about. The message of this movie, of keep moving forward, is so powerful in the way it's explored here, and the way they use time travel to communicate that message. It's just a movie that really resonates with me, and my goodness, those last 5 minutes where we see his life shaping up to be the way that he saw it in the future, while Rob, oh my goodness, what's his name? Rob Thomas's Little Wonders is playing. It's the very best Disney ending. It is so emotionally powerful, and it moves me to tears every single time. And getting to that point, you still got a great villain, you've got some great humor, you've got some great supporting characters. I do like the conflict in the last act, but I just think it's resolved a little too quickly. But this is a Disney movie that I go to time and time again. It's one that I think deserves more love. So it comes in 8th place. Which I know is a bit of a hot take, but if you think that's a hot take, wait until you hear what's in 7th place. In 7th place, not 1st place, in 7th, we've got The Lion King. I know. Look, I do love this movie, but I also do have some issues with it. That said though, that doesn't take away from the strengths of it. This tragic story of Simba who thinks that he killed his dad and just runs away from everything is so emotionally powerful. And just how manipulative Scar is, he's just such a terrific villain, really brought to life by Jeremy Irons in such a perfect way. The animation also looks beautiful. You got an amazing soundtrack. Look, I'm just going to be honest. The Circle of Life sequence is beautiful to look at, but it's not my favorite song. In fact, it's one that I never listened to outside of the movie. But you still got I Just Can't Wait to Be King, and you also got Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Sorry that you had to listen to that. You got Hakuna Matata. You got a great soundtrack all around. You got great supporting characters in Timon, Pumbaa, Nala. Just everyone is a great supporting character. You got Zazu, voiced so well by Rowan Atkinson. It's got funny moments, it's got really tragic, emotional moments. It's just got a terrific story all around, and it's beautifully animated. I just love this movie. I still love it. It's in 7th place, but I still love it. In 6th place, we've got a movie that I wasn't looking forward to whatsoever. And when I saw it in theaters, I couldn't shut up about it for quite some time. And that's Moana. I love this movie. I thought this movie was just a pure delight. The character journey that Moana goes on is so very powerful, and the friendship she forms with Maui was just top notch. This is unironically Dwayne Johnson's very best performance. I just think he hit some emotional beats that he hasn't hit in any other one of his movies. But I think it's got some really funny moments. It's relentlessly entertaining. I really like the villain reveal at the end. You also got Tomatoa, who I really like as a one-scene villain. He delivers a completely amazing song called Shiny. I love that song. The entire soundtrack is fantastic. I also love Where You Came From. Consider the coconuts, the roots in the trees. The island gives us what we need, and no one leaves. That song's very underrated. You also got How Far I'll Go, which is a terrific I Want song. See the line where the sky meets the sea, and it calls me, and no one knows. You also got What Can I Say Except You're Welcome. Such a terrific soundtrack. The animation looks great, especially the hair, and it's got some really great emotional moments. So this is just a movie that I love quite a bit. In 5th place, we've got the only 1940s Disney movie here, and that is Pinocchio. This is easily my favorite of the pre-Renaissance Disney era. This movie is just so damn fantastic because it's just this great story of a little boy growing up facing the temptations of the world. You know, he comes across fame and pleasure and just being selfish and how that affects him. I thought that element of this movie is really strong. I don't listen to the soundtrack in my spare time, but it's undoubtedly an iconic soundtrack. After all, Disney did get their signature sound from this movie. It's got a great range of characters. I think my favorite element of this movie is just how twisted it is. Like, this is easily the scariest Disney movie. Like, everything, including Stromboli, is really tense and unnerving. And then you go to Pleasure Island, where all these kids are turning into donkeys, and it's legitimately horrifying stuff. And I just love the fact that this movie is willing to go into those darker places while still telling a great character-centric story. I love this movie. It's fantastic. Yes. But in 4th place, we've got a movie that lots of people complain about these days because it's not progressive or whatever, but this is a movie that I've always loved, always will love, and it's just one of Disney's very best movies, and it's The Little Mermaid. I just love this movie. Ariel is such a wonderful character, just this curious, naive girl just trying to figure out her life and what she wants from it, and I love the character arc she goes on, and you've got a fantastic villain in Ursula, and not enough people talk about how twisted this movie is. Like, Ursula literally steals her voice and wears it around her neck. Like, that's twisted. And then if she doesn't get the guy to fall in love with her, she turns up into a wizard-old plant. Like, that is truly terrifying stuff. Like, this is a dark movie. And then you got it in the last act where she turns into this giant, and oh my goodness, that used to terrify me as a kid. But yes, I love the darker elements of this movie. It's also got an amazing soundtrack. I wanna be where the people are. I wanna see them dancing, walking around on the... Okay, like, that is the best Disney song. I love that song so very much. It is just a phenomenal song. But you've also got Under the Sea, bum 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 bum. Under the Sea, bum 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 bum. Down. Okay, that's a great song too. You've got Kiss the Girl. You got Poor Unfortunate Souls. The soundtrack is great all around, but it might also have my favorite score by Alan Menken. I just really love the instrumental music here. It's got some great funny moments. You also got some great supporting characters, from that seagull or that pelican that doesn't understand what human devices actually are. You got Sebastian, who I love. You got Flounder, who I love. You got the menacing eels to Ursula. You also got King Triton, who I think goes through a fantastic character arc. And you also got a fantastic story that doesn't actually kick off until like 45-50 minutes into the movie. But it's still such a perfectly paced movie. Like any other movie, I'd be like, yeah, it takes way too long for the story to get going. But I don't feel that way with this movie. I just think it's so perfectly paced. And my goodness, that last scene when Ariel's getting married and she gives her dad a goodbye hug saying, "I love you, Daddy." Oh, the feels. Such a terrific movie. In third place, we've got a movie that I'll never forget because I didn't even want to see this movie in theaters. But my cousins asked me to, and I was just like, fine, I'll go see it. I'm not expecting much. And I completely fell in love with this movie, and I still love it a ton to this day. And that's Tangled. I love this movie. I think this is such a fantastic Disney movie. Like, I didn't really care about the story of Rapunzel, but right from the get-go, they give you a reason why she's locked in a tower, why her hair is long, why her hair is golden. And it doesn't feel like fan servicey, it feels essential to the story. And just the character arc she goes on of wanting to explore the world and just realizing that she's been manipulated to all these years is very powerful. And I love how Mother Gothel isn't your cliche Disney villain. She's manipulative, she's abusive, and she's gaslighting, but she never comes across as a cliche villain. And you really do understand the weight of Rapunzel realizing that the mother that she loved, that she knew all her life, isn't the woman that she really is. And how that devastates her. And you feel that. You also got Flynn Rider, who's a fantastic character, voiced so well by Zachary Levi. I just love how charismatic he is. And even finding out that his name's Eugene Fitzherbert, I think that was a great reveal. The rest of the voice cast is also great. Mandy Moore, Donna Murphy. You've got great animal sidekicks in the Chameleon and Maximus the horse. I thought they were really entertaining. The songs are all fantastic, a bit more poppy, but they work for me. I love When Will My Life Begin, 7 a.m. the usual morning lineup. I love that song, and even when it gets reprised again when she's going down the tower, that's a very powerful moment. I Got a Dream is a fantastic moment. It's not a song, it's music, but I love Alan Menken's score for this movie, especially Kingdom Dance. That's a fantastic piece of music. And then you got I See the Light, and my goodness, what an amazing song and sequence this is. So emotional and beautiful, and man, I love it. The animation in this movie is phenomenal. The romance, this is definitely the best Disney romance I find. And yeah, it's just a great, emotional, fun, hilarious story that I have a great time watching every time I watch it. So that's why it's in third place. And that leaves us to the final two spots. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of went back and forth between these two choices, but I went with, in second place, A Tale as Old as Time, Beauty and the Beast. I'm sorry about how much I'm sitting in this review. Well, not even a review, this list. But yeah, Beauty and the Beast. I love this movie. I think it's such a fantastic Disney story. This movie is just everything Disney should be. I love Belle as a character and how curious and how knowledgeable she is and how she really cares for her dad, and that's what actually sets off the story, which I really love. You've got this great character in the Beast who has this terrible curse upon him, and he meets Belle. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not typically for bestiality, but I'll make this one exception regarding this romance because I do find it to be incredibly sweet, and by the end I find it to be very moving. You got a terrific villain in Gaston. He's just a villain unlike any other villain. Like, everyone loves him. He's this egocentric, just this total asshole, but he just views himself as the hero, and I just think he's a great villain. Love him. LeFou's a great sidekick to the villain. Maurice is also a great character. You've also got Lemire, who's just so entertaining to watch whenever he's on screen. You got Cogsworth, who's great, and those two personalities are a great contrast. You got Mrs. Potts. Just all the characters are fantastic, and the soundtrack is one of Disney's very best. Like, Beauty and the Beast is a beautiful song. You also got the incredibly fun song in Be Our Guest, Be Our Guest, put our service to the test. Do 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 do. It's a great song, love it. You also got the Mob song, which I find to be a very underrated song. You got Gaston, which is a great villain song. You also got Belle, which is such an iconic I Want song. Oh my goodness, the soundtrack to this movie is so good. The animation's beautiful, the romance really works. It's got some emotionally powerful moments, and just everything about the last act works for me in such a perfect way. Like, just nobody believing her, everybody wanting to attack the castle. I just love that whole element of the movie, and it's just perfect. It's just a perfect movie. I love it so very much, and that's why it's in second place. But in first place, we've got, you've guessed it already, it's Aladdin. I love this movie so very much. Always have, always will, and it's just a perfect Disney movie. Like, everything that Disney movies try to be, this movie fully realizes it. You've got this amazing romance that really does work. You've got this great hero's journey. You've got a fantastic villain. You've got the funniest supporting characters. You've got the best last act of any Disney movie with real tension and stakes. And it just fully utilizes the fantasy genre to such a high degree here. And it's just a perfect movie. Like, I love this movie so very much. I love Aladdin as a character. I think Jasmine's a fantastically well-written character. And you really do care for the romance between the two of them. And just the challenges they face of him being a poor boy and then him lying to her, it's always rooted in character drama, which I really love. Then you got Jafar, who's a fantastic, sinister villain. You know, he's a beer-trolling villain, but he's just got this sinister appeal to him, which I really love. You also got some hilarious animal supporting characters in Abu and Diego? It's not Diego. Iago. It's with an I. Iago, I think. I totally mispronounced his name, but those two are both hilarious animal supporting characters. But then you've got the genie. And the genie is just the very best Disney character. Robin Williams came in and made this character his own. It's one of the very best voice performances of all time. He's hilarious in this movie. He cracks me up from beginning to end. Whether it's the constant movie references, just his pitch-perfect comedy delivery, this guy just does it. This is just such a fantastic, likable character who cracks me up. Yeah, but you've got a terrific movie in the first two acts. But the dark directions this story takes in the last act is genuinely some of the most thrilling and intense stuff in any movie. You know, you understand the power of the genie, and to see that power in the wrong hand with the added addition of the fact that these two friends, Aladdin and Genie, are now against each other, just makes it all the more compelling. And to see Jafar gain all that power and just to be so evil with it and even turning into a snake, it just, you just feel the stakes and the tension, and oh my goodness, it's just such a perfect last act. This movie is perfectly paced. It's just the soundtrack. Did I even mention the soundtrack? I didn't. One Jump Ahead is a fantastic song. Friend Like Me is a fantastic song. A Whole New World is the second best Disney song. It's such a great romantic song. Prince Ali's fantastic. When it gets reprised again in a sinister way, that's great. My goodness, I love this movie. Arabian Nights fantastic. Oh my goodness, it's so good. This is my favorite Disney movie. But what are your favorite Disney movies? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon. And Gavin,